I can remember that day. I was incredibly upset and felt like a failure. I was struggling to live up to my dream of being a video game designer. I could feel it slipping through my fingers. I was incredibly frustrated. I wanted to be able to complete my education so badly and pursue my dream of making video games. My memory and concentration problems from my PTSD a few years prior were getting in the way of that dream. I couldn't remember what I was learning, and I was failing the class. I began researching other degree programs available at Full Sail University. Nothing really caught my eye in particular, at least not for the online programs. My wife was there with me, and she helped me out, and she noticed the digital cinematography program. Well, I like movies and TV shows like most other people do, but I don't know how to make them, honestly. The good thing is that there's many TV shows and movies that are filmed just right up the road from my house here. So the prospect of getting a career in that field was good, so I decided to check it out. I began looking into the digital cinematography program and decided to talk to my advisor about a change of enrollment from game design. Honestly, I have to say the main interest in changing to digital cinematography were all the goodies that came in the project launchbox. I figured if it didn't work out, then at least I would have some good equipment to use later in life or maybe for another career. I liked what I was learning, but I was starting to get confused with all the jargon some of the other students were using. I was beginning to feel pretty insecure. After all, they had worked on other projects, operated a real camera before, and what did I know? I knew to use the auto settings on my cell phone to record my kids' birthday parties. Sure didn't know as much as some of those students did. And I was starting to question whether or not this was a good fit for me as far as a degree program goes. I got my lunchbox a few months later and had never seen such an advanced camera before. It did give me a little bit of anxiety to be handling such expensive equipment. I didn't know how to really use any of this stuff, so I took my evenings to become familiar with it all. After a while, I heard in my class that we had to find a local project for production experience. I was excited at working on a real movie or TV show set. I wasn't too sure about this career I had decided upon in my future in it, so I decided to go ahead and do my internship right away, even though I had a year to decide upon what I wanted to work on. But I figured this way, I could decide if I was going to continue pursuing this career field, or if things didn't go well, maybe giving up on school entirely. I looked all over online at the various studios in town. I guess it was the off-season for most films and movies and had a hard time finding anything. I was about to give up until I saw posting on the New Mexico Film Commission's website. I read the requirements and decided to call the office to talk to Ann Lerner, who runs the jobs program and is the main point of contact for many programs at the Film Commission. She told me that she didn't have any information for any of the job postings for the project called Hyde Park, but I got the contact information for the director of the film anyway. I wasn't thinking much about the email I sent to the director. I explained who I was and that I was interested in working on the film as well. I didn't expect to get an answer so quickly later on that night. I was so excited when I read that email. He wanted me as his assistant and to help in the camera department for the duration of the project, about 5 weeks long. My wife was excited and moreover glad because I was so excited to work on something again. It had been years since I was last excited about really anything anyway. And I began my internship with Hyde Park a couple months later. So I began working on Hyde Park on March 12th, 2017. I was mainly to be working in the camera department as an assistant camera, but I did much other type of work as well. The first few days were still considered pre-production, so I mainly helped the art department to dress a set and get the props ready. I also helped the grips with getting lights set up and the generator in place. I honestly worked such long hours on those days that my spinal injury from the Army was acting up really bad. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep up with everyone for the whole 5 weeks. I did though, and really enjoyed this experience so much. I knew I had found my true calling and was excited to get back to school so I could finish my degree and get back to working on future projects. I had gone into this project with many questions about my future in the film industry. The first few days were really difficult and my disabilities kind of limited me, so I wasn't too sure of myself. After 5 weeks, though, I pulled together. I had done a lot of great hard work, and I knew at that moment that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I loved working on set, and I can't wait for my next big opportunity.